I welcome you, Dr. Natasa Dasgupta. In fact, for her, it's like a homecoming because for many years she was a faculty member at our college, and currently she is principal, Krishnanagar Women's College. Dr. Natasa Dasgupta will speak on prevalence of transphobia in West Bengal, a study report. So over to Natasa.
Thank you, Jasruti, for this very homely introduction. And at the outset, I would like to thank to the Honorable Principal of the college, Professor Shuli Shorkar, our senior colleague. Once she was our senior colleague. Now she is the director of this course, Professor Sanjukta Das, and the coordinator of Women's Studies Center of WSC, Dr. Porna Ghosh, for giving me chance to share my experience with TG community, my experience with working with the transphobia, to share my experience with all of you present here. So thank you again, and thank you, Jasruti, for this beautiful introduction. And I'll start my presentation, but before that, I must say that in this study, it is a study on prevalence of transphobia in West Bengal. Now, the study was done in two phases. First was the pilot survey, and followed by the main survey. The study was done during the year 2017 to 2019. And during that time, I was the head of the department of this college, of the statistics of this college. And my students, the students of the Department of Statistics of LBC, they have conducted the pilot study. So the study, which actually we did, Brabourne was the field of the study. Brabourne was closely associated with the study. The students of the Department of Statistics was closely associated with the study. So I would like to thank them on my behalf. Now, I'll start my presentation. Is it visible, Jasruti? Is my slide is visible?
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And I'm audible also.
Yes.
Okay. The topic of discussion is prevalence of transphobia in the state of West Bengal, a study report. Now, before going to the topic, actually, there are few terms which are may not be known to all of you. First thing, transphobia, and transgender. So just a quick revision of the terms. First, let me start with a picture. Here, apparently, it is seen that they are father-son. But no, they're not father-son. They're the mother and the daughter. So the attire they used has been, this is the sign of their, it is not the sign, it is not the symbol of their sexual identity. It is not their body. It is their behavior, their preference. So a person must have two different identities. One is his or her sexual identity, and another is his or her gender identity. What is a sexual identity? His body or her body. That may be a male body, that may be a female body, that may be an intersex body. So first and foremost thing is, sex is not only the binary thing, male and female, not that. There is a range of intersex variety of that person, the intersex person. They have both male and female organs in their body. So sex, basically, we assume that it is taken into granted that male and female, there is nothing except male or beyond the male and female identity. No, there are male, female, and intersex identity in the sexual context. And if you think of gender, for a born female, she is when become woman. A born female become woman when he adopts few societal norms, roles, behavior, responsibility. Those are feminine behavior, feminine responsibility. Similarly, for man, it is the masculine behavior or masculine responsibilities, roles. So gender are those roles assigned to a people by birth, either she is male or female or intersex. So somehow male, female, intersex, these are somehow natural, biological. But gender is never, it is a natural construct. It is a societal construct. And it changes over time, over space, over culture, over religion. It is completely man-made thing. And actually, I have pointed it, the man with red color, women cannot do this. This is a very bad thing, and obviously it is a man-made thing. But sex or intersex people, they are biological attribute of a human being, but gender is actually a societal construct. And you know, the Beauvoir said, we become differentiated as women and men rather than being born as such. So when the society differentiates or designate a man or woman, actually he thinks through the lens of gender. As we have seen in the first picture, we are thinking, we are observing the things through the lens of gender. And after that, in 1990, Butler, in her book Gender Trouble, she claimed that gender is performative. That means when a baby is born, when the nurse announces it is a baby girl, society prepares a script for the baby girl. She will wear pink clothes. She will play with dolls. She will be an ideal mother, ideal girl, so on and so forth. And the script is prepared and announced every time with every birth. And thus, it is a naturalizing trick. We think that it is natural. A man must be masculine. A woman must be feminine. We think that it is natural. The performance is a naturalizing trick so that the gendered identification of biological identity comes to appear as natural. But obviously, these two are not necessarily essentially equal or identical. So we can destabilize the script. A person can change the role of male and female in the script. In fact, homonormativity, the person who perform homonormativity, that is lesbian or gay, they tries to destabilize the system. And the person who have different identity in their body and their mind, transgender, they want to reverse or they change the role of gender and sex. So what does trans mean? Why the people who are female in mind, but in her body, he is a male, he is called trans woman. The person who is male in his body, male in his self, but female in body, he is called trans men. So trans men, trans women, transgender, so many terms are there. I would clarify this, the origin of those terms. So what does trans means? It has several meanings. First thing, it moves across the gender with or without surgically or by hormone therapy altering their body. So if I prefer to take the role of a man, I prefer to take the role of a man, then I am a trans man, with or without performing any hormone therapy or SRS, sex reassignment surgery. So to cross the barrier of gender, trans mean this, and in that sense, transgender are those people who cross the barrier of gender. To change, sometimes I may prefer to change my body according to myself. So then I'm called trans man or trans woman. Actually, in our latest bill, transgender bill, the person before surgery is called transgender person, and after surgery, he or she is called trans man or trans woman, or rather man or woman. And to transcend, move beyond the gender binary. Actually, there is nothing as absolute female or no gender role can assign you or can make you an absolute feminine or an absolute masculine people. Masculinity and femininity, these two are not in absolute sense. These are not the limit of gender, the binary. It is told, or these things has become normalized that gender is binary in nature, male, female, woman, man, masculine, feminine. Not that. The role, the features, the characters I perform is my gender. And the third definition of trans is actually it moves beyond gender binary, and we call them gender queer. Queer means if you can you see my hand? Can you see my palm? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
This is straight and this is queer. Neither straight nor this. Queer means behind, in between these two. And so go by the transgender identity. Who am I? The transgender will say that, yeah, I don't feel that the gender or the sexuality I was born with matches as my true gender. That is the inner self. The transsexual or the trans man or trans woman, they will say that, okay, I don't feel comfortable in my gender assigned at birth, so I have changed my body according to myself. So I'm trans man or trans woman. So after SRS, after performance of sex reassignment surgery, they're transsexual or trans men, trans woman, like this. Transvestites are the cross dresser. I am comfortable with the dress of the opposite gender. And intersex is I'm neither male nor female. I have both organs in my body. And hijra. Hijra is something different. They are basically trans women. That is, men in body and women in self. But they have a different kinship. They have a different society. Their existence is associated with our cultural and different societal norm. So this thing cannot be understood only with the reference of sex and gender alone. And cisgender, I'm okay with my gender as I shine at my birth. And a very quick revision of the thing. So the LGB, they have nothing to do with gender. They're comfortable with their gender role, but they have the sexual preference, different type of sexual preference. They are not heterosexual or heteronormative. They are homonormative, but they don't have any problem with gender. Whereas transgender, where they have the problem with gender. Mind that transgender people does not question the institutions like marriage or childbirth or family. They're comfortable with the gender role, but gender role of the opposite gender. And now, what is transphobia? You know, the power structure, when actually it is a politics of othering. You know, if you are not like me, so you are other. And if you are other, you are less homo sapien, then you may not have legal rights, social rights that I enjoy. The politics of othering, actually what it does, it refuses the trans community, the gender outlaws, sexual outlaws, and the discrimination and stigma of the individual who do not conform to the traditional norm of sex and gender is called transphobia. And how it is manifested? It is manifested by irrational fear, disgust or intolerance, even violence towards the transgender. And what does UNDP report says us? They are excluded from effectively participating in social and cultural life. They are excluded from economy. They are denied from any job. They are excluded from political arena, and thus they are excluded from decision-making process. We cannot think a developmental structure for this community because they are others, they are not like us. And this is a picture of their harassment. The study was conducted not in our country, it was conducted in the most democratic country of the world, in USA, in the year 2011. And just look at the picture, look at the figures. TG community they have denied equal treatment from police officers. They have been harassed. They have been physically assaulted by police officers. They have been denied equal treatment in hospital also, government agency, bus, train, taxi, that is in public transport. They have been denied in rape crisis center also, and legal service clinic, and everywhere in school. They have been denied. They have been assaulted physically by their teachers. And what is the result of this? 41% of the respondents reported attempting suicide compared to 1.6% in the general population. So the suicidal rate or attempt to suicidal rate is far, far more in this sector, because they are being denied in every sector of the society. And what is the result of it? What does our policymakers does? 1 minute. Please, 1 minute. I have a call to take. Hello? Meeting আছে। Sorry, extremely sorry. Can you see my slide? Hello?
Yes, yes, yes.
Fine. Born free and equal. This is a report prepared by the United Nations Human Rights Commission, and they have observed this kind of rejection, refusal, torture, violence against TG community, and the deprivation of human rights laws, and so many things. The picture of the deprivation was reflected in this report, and unfortunately, in this report, they have said that the equality and non-discrimination, which is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights Commission, Human Rights Charter, that has been violated for this trans or this gender or sexual minority group of people. So the human rights lawmaking body, they have prescribed few laws for this kind of people, this community, and they directed the countries to protect people from homophobic and transphobic violence, prevent torture and cruelty, inhuman and degrading treatment of LGBT persons, repeal laws criminalizing homosexuality, prohibit discrimination on the basis of gender identity, and safeguard freedom of expression, right of association, and peaceful assembly of LGBT people. The year was 2012. We have already passed 10 years. In the year 2020, before 3 months, in the month of, they called it a Pride Month, in the month of June, in Ireland, there was an attack on gay bar, and few people was killed by some unknown gunmen. In our country, in West Bengal, few weeks back, a homosexual couple, they was beaten by their family, was not accepted in the neighborhood, went to the police denied to file the case. In the last year, one of the transgender leader, Srimati Ranjita Sinha, she is the founder of All Bengal Association of All Bengal Hijra and Transgender Persons. She was tortured, she was assaulted by a police officer in Kolkata. So these things are being done repeatedly. So most countries lack comprehensive policies to address the human rights violation against LGBT people. Policies by and large fail to take into account the diversity and heterogeneity of LGBT people. And World Bank have calculated the estimated loss of this. The huge portion of the people they are not in our labor force, they are not being included in the labor force, they are suffering few diseases. So the cost of the exclusion, it is estimated as 0.1% to 1.7% of our national GDP. Mind that in the year 14-15, the GDP, the proportion of GDP in education was 2.8. So 50% of the amount, 50% of the budget of education is being lost due to the exclusion. And you know the famous judgment of Supreme Court judgment, Nalsa judgment, which categorize or in which the right to decide the self-identified gender of a person was given. Hijra community was designated as third gender. I don't know why they are called third gender. And in the judgment, it was proposed that they have state have to provide medical care, to frame various social welfare scheme for that, separate public toilet and other facilities should be given to them, and to treat them socially and educationally backward class. So to offer them reservation in few cases and to create public awareness. After that, a bill has been passed in the TG Protection and Development Bill, probably TG bill we call that. That bill has been passed in 2019, and in our state also we are going to issue card for the transgender. We have done few things for them. The transgender board, development board of the state, they have done few things for them. They have given them right to form self-help group. They have given, we have designated few hospitals where separate ward for transgender people are available. A few things, few initiative has been taken, and a lot of the initiative are yet to be taken. And 2018 Human Rights Commission, they have prepared a report where it has been seen that 99% suffered from societal rejection, 80% are physically abused, 96% are denied job, 62% was verbally abused in their school or college, 15% are harassed by the students as well as by the teachers. 2% live with their parents. Just think of the situation of a transgender people. He or she is bound to leave her home, her family, his family. Only 2% have their stay with their parents, and 15% have their voter ID card, and 70% have other card as transgender. Because this is manifestation of transphobia. And there are two kinds of transphobia. One is direct, another is indirect. We all suffer from indirect transphobia. We do not know that we are transphobic. We unintentional action we are taking against the community. For example, TG, the insurance policy coverage of SRS, sex reassignment surgery, is a basic need of the TG person. Most of the insurance company do not allow this. And this is not allowed even in our official Shastho Shati or the national scheme is, what is the name of the national scheme? I forgot. But in these two schemes, TG SRS is not covered because the lawmaker, they cannot understand the need of this kind of development, this kind of special law for this gender minority, gender outlaw people. And you know, direct transphobia means just beat them, bully them, reject them outside the society, throw them outside the society. Now the thing is, so far I have said so many things. The reports all are prepared on the narratives of the transgender group, on the narratives of the gender outlaw sexual minority groups. But if you want to find something, want to see, observe the attitude of cisgender people, what they are thinking about the transgender people, then only one way is to go to the cisgender people, to interview them, to have an idea about their attitude, their thinking, what they are thinking about the and why they are in a position of they are not accepting them. They are in a position to refusing this community. Why? Actually, we did this thing. And there was a few references from, obviously from USA. And on the basis of those references, we did a survey where actually in these references, they have identified few attributes, few reasons for transphobia. These are the reasons: authoritarianism, gender role belief, religiosity, rape myth belief, anti-egalitarian views, homophobia. These are the some factors behind transphobia. What we done, our job is unique because we have did the whole survey under the statistical framework. We have collected a random sample, and on the basis of that random sample, we have classified, we have identified some factors which may be responsible for the transphobia, and at the same time, we are now able to give an idea about the prevalence of transphobia in our state on the basis of the cisgender dialect, cisgender people's conception. So our study is this: prevalence of transphobia and the impact of some demographic variable on it, and influence of 4 factors we have identified: gender role belief, authoritarianism, religiosity, and anti-egalitarian view on transphobia. And of course, this, the last but not the least, whether the contact with TG, acquaintance with TG can reduce change the level of transphobia. This is very important because if it is true, then if we can increase the visibility of transgender person by giving them employment, by including them in various social schemes, if we can increase the visibility of those people in our society, then obviously transphobia will reduce. So the 4th point is very important in our survey. And the report, I'll go to the report, but I'm just leaving this PowerPoint presentation. And we'll show you something else. This is our pilot study report. Yes. Is it visible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, it's visible.
Fine. The first and foremost thing of a survey is designing. But since we don't have any reference in our context, in the social context of India or particularly the West Bengal, so we have done this in 2 phases. First, a pilot survey to fix the questionnaire, and then a main survey. So before conducting the pilot survey, what we did, first thing we did, step one, we have conducted 2 group discussion, one with the TG community and another with the Hijra community. And we got feedback. Actually, there is no time. I'd love to disclose or share those feedbacks with you, but I don't have any time. They have told us the story of their deprivation, their refusal, their sorrow, and of course, their joy of the community living. Whatever. So, 2 group discussion was conducted, and the first group discussion, as I can remember, the first discussion was conducted, the GD was conducted in Lady Brabourne College, and different transgender representatives from a number of representatives from different part of our state of transgender people, number of representatives, TG representatives from different part of our state. They came, they shared their views. And me personally, with my student, I have visited 2 Hijra tolls, one at Nodia and another at one at Shantipur Nodia and another at Majdia Nodia. And on the basis of their narratives, we have prepared a questionnaire. What are the questions to ask? So part 1 of the questionnaire was describing the demographic and the categorical variables, that is whether they are male or the respondent is male or female, or the respondent is whether his or her education level, their occupation, etc., their age, etc., etc. And this part 2 of the schedule consists of 23 questions. And these questions are specially set on the social rejection, the reason behind social rejection, or the rejection, how they. 1 minute, please. আমি একটা ভিসিতে আছি, আমি আপনাকে একটু পরে ফোন করি, আধ ঘন্টা বাদে আমি একটা লেকচার দিচ্ছি। হ্যাঁ, thank you. So the second thing is 11 of them were said directly on transphobia. Why we ask direct questions. Are you transphobic? Do you feel this? Do you feel that? 5 is said to observe the influence of attitudinal variables like gender role, authoritarianism, etc., on transphobia. And several questions, several tricky questions are there, where we are trying to find out their impression, their attitude, by asking same question in 2 to 3 ways. So cross-checking was there. And few question was on Hijra community. And the questions are set on 5-point scale. That is, it's a categorical, we call it schedule. It's a categorical schedule. And 5 means most favorable, 5 means high transphobia, that is least favorable attitude, and 1 means most favorable attitude. And the transphobia score, by adding the individual score of the all questions, we got the transphobia score of a person. And of course, we analyze the transphobia score. And the composition of the sample, this survey was conducted by our students of the 3rd year of the Department of Statistics of Lady Brabourne College. They have selected 179 cisgender from Kolkata, South and North 24 Parganas and Nodia district, and they are cisgender. They are not transgender, mind that, cisgender. And basically, most of them are urban dweller. 55% of them are male. A large number of respondents are educated, highly educated, and more than 51% are salaried. So it's basically it was an urban sample. mostly dominated by highly educated and salaried people. And the outcome? Yes. Actually, I have arranged the outcome in 2-stage response of the direct questions. Do you have any transphobia? No. 66% of the respondent informed, I don't have any transphobia. 63% do not have any problem to share toilets with the TG colleagues. And 64% are ready to accept their close ones being TG. Mind that these are the answer of few direct questions. But what are the statistics revealed in other questions? Analysis of the opinion of the respondent on different TG issues reveal the existence of widespread discrimination. How? Only 36% respondent think that a trans person is as normal as a cis person. Only 36% of the respondent agree with this. 30% of the respondent agreed to hire a transgender person as a driver or a housemate. So what about the employability of a transgender person? Where he or she can be employed? Only 30% accept a transgender tutor for their children. Only 33% are comfortable with cross-dressing. And in West Bengal, you know, all kind of treatments are done free of cost in government hospital. But only 30% of the respondent, they feel that SRS should be done free of cost. And when asked, can you maintain the same relationship with a friend who come out to you as transgender? Only a shocking 6% respondent yes. So if your friend is a transgender, then you cannot accept it. Why? And acceptance of Hijra community, it's a more depressing figures and features. 69% respondent had objections if a Hijra travel in a ladies compartment. Why? They're a female in their mind. So why they can't use ladies compartment? 52% respondents believe that Hijra could curse or bless effectively, and admitted people offer money to Hijras either in lieu of blessing or in fear of curses. So this is the social value embedded in our society. So Hijra issues cannot be think or cannot be judged in the light of sexuality and gender. There are some more things which is associated in Hijra community, associated with Hijra community and Hijra class. But one thing, most of the respondents are not ready to accept gender outlaws in their own sphere, but 72% of the respondents were in favor of special governmental support to enhance the opportunity of employability by providing special schemes for these people. And Hijra rights, yes, the right and the developmental schemes for Hijra, especially for the Hijra community, that has been accepted by all the respondents, most of the respondents. And we asked few questions about abolition of 377. and the role of media in spreading the awareness of this issue. And only very few of them considered that the 17% of our respondents have considered during the past few years, the government and media have shown more respect to transgender than they deserve. And much celebrated Supreme Court verdict criminalizing consensual same-sex sexual activity has had a little impact on the chosen respondent, because only 16% of them believe that the verdict, a much discussed important verdict, will bring change to the opinion of the society about gender outlaws. And similarly, few more things we got from our pilot study report. It is observed that who have exposure to TG, maybe personal friend, maybe somehow they are acquainted with TG, they are least transphobic. Just recall the point 4 of our study, of our why do you want to conduct the study. Point 4 was so that if we can increase, if we can increase the visibility, it will do something in favor of the gender outlaws. And gender role belief has a direct influence on transphobia. If you believe firmly on gender role, then you are more transphobic. And now go to the result of the after the pilot survey, after the analysis, after the report of the pilot survey, after the analysis we did, after this is done, we have planned for a main survey. And the main survey, the main survey was done in all the districts of West Bengal. Actually, we divided the framework of main survey was huge. We divided our state into 3 different regions: northern region, western region, and southern region, and selected 5 districts from each region. In fact, we selected 4 districts and 1 corporation area from each region. And what was the basis of the selection? Actually, we have, I don't know whether you know these jargons, we have applied a multi-phased sampling scheme. So in the first phase, the units are the districts. Then from the districts, we have selected town and villages. Then from each village or town, we have selected few localities. And from each selected, we have selected 15 districts. And from each locality, we have selected 60 samples. So a total of 900 respondents were asked questions, and this survey has been done by some professionals. And how did we select the district and then the town and the villages? According to some rules or laws. I'll describe this. The first thing is, from each area, districts are selected considering the gross district domestic product of the districts. We have taken 2 districts having highest GDP, district GDP, and they have taken 2 districts having lowest GDP. For example, in the northern region, 4 districts, Darjeeling, Jalpaiguri, Coach Bihar and Malda, have been selected according to the GDP of the district. This is called district domestic product, DDP of the districts. Then from each district, we have seen way that which villages have the highest enrollment ratio in 10th class. We have selected 2 villages, one having highest enrollment ratio in class 10, another having lowest enrollment ratio in class 10. And similarly, 2 towns are selected depending upon the educational framework. And from each region, from northern region, the corporation area, Siliguri was selected, in western region, Asansol was selected, and in southern region, Howrah and Kolkata, these 2 are selected as corporation area, that's as urban area. And so in our sample, there are 15 places, 15 districts or corporation areas. From each district, we have taken 60 samples, either from town or from village. And the questionnaire it was divided into 3 sections. First one is demographic information. Second one is questionnaire on legal rights and other attitudinal variables. And third one, in section 3, we introduce a new instrument called feeling thermometer. In fact, while analyzing the pilot survey study, we feel that everything is non-parametric. Everything you can count. The scores you can count, but these are not continuous things. You cannot have continuous variable with your in the analysis process. And you know that if you can introduce a continuous variable, then the efficiency of the test, efficiency of the analysis gets higher, become much and more and more accurate. So we tried to judge the attitude of the people, common people, cisgender people, about the gender outlaws by introducing a new instrument called feeling thermometer. What is a feeling thermometer? It is a paper and a thermometer is printed on this. If you have very warm or favorable feeling about a person, then give the person 100. If you have fairly warm, you can give any number from 0 to 100, and you know that very cold is 0 and very warm is 100. We gave each the respondent this thermometer, this picture printed on a paper, and asked them to give number. First thing, you have to ask few questions about few things. You have to inform. First thing, what we did, we inform him or her, the respondent, about the survey and ask few questions regarding various things, not directly on the survey. And after the situation, when the ice broke, when the situation is okay, welcoming situation, then this thing is introduced, and he or she was asked to rate a male, a female, lesbian or gay, transgender, and hijra, according to their acceptance, according to their preference, according to their warmth of relationship or feeling. Now, the result, yes, before going to the result, I just tell you the educational level of the sample is fair. Illiterate 7%, non-matric 22%, matric but non-graduate 35%, and graduate and above 36%. And there are 8% of the respondent who belongs to the service provider group. Service provider to the transgender. What does it mean? They are either lawyer or school teacher or doctor or police personnel, those or government employee, those who can help transgender in their need. And the outcomes, yes, only 36% of the participants consider transgenderism as normal. Only 36%. And in the main survey, sorry, it was in the, I have told you, it was in the a survey, previous survey, pilot survey, but in the main survey, 41% disagree with the proposition that activity are against the nature. So acceptance is very low. And 38% felt uneasy to share seats with transgender in public transport. 46% disagreed to allow trans women in female wards in the hospital. 26% was not willing to let their children even to play with TG boys or girls. So they are almost untouchable. And 52% feels that trans person are just as suitable for any job as anybody else. It is obvious that the TG community will not get any job because 48% think that no, they are not suitable for any job. And 25% acknowledged that TG and Hijra do not have sufficient legal assistance. It means that 75% feels everything is okay, they get assistance. And the deep-rooted belief Hijra can curse effectively. It's a deep-rooted belief in our society because 42% of the people agree with the proposition. And now the analysis of feeling thermometer. Just take a look in this. Probably you can see our feeling about man and woman, male, female, feeling about LG, about TG, about Hijra. You know, the favorable feeling means more number in the scale. Our feelings are favorable to male and female, to the gender, to the people who are under the norm, gender norms. But for the gender or sexual life clause, we don't have favorable feeling. This is actually less than 40. Indifferent, if we assume that 50 means indifferent, it is less than 50. So we have negative attitude towards these kind of people. And we have calculated the relationship. I'll show you. Yes. In the town area, yeah, it's almost done.
Please wind up within 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah. 2 or 3 minutes. I'm almost done. And in the village, sorry, in the corporation area, the conception about this TG community is better, and it is directly related to the education, because we have seen, it is directly related to education. We have seen the level of education increases, we have better concept or better attitude towards the gender outlaws. And if we can increase the visibility, if we can have more and more acquaintance with those people, then the attitude or impression about them can be changed. And finally, we have recommended 3 things. First one is recommendation, yes. First one is we should arrange gender awareness program at every level, in school, in colleges, in hospitals, in police station, in court, for the lawyers. We should arrange gender awareness particularly to the service provider groups. And similarly, steps must be taken to increase the visibility of the community, provide them employment, provide them scope, include them in different scholarship schemes, include them in social sectors, so that more and more people, TG people, are being employed, so that their visibility can increase. And yes, now it's the time to conclude. I'll conclude. I'll conclude. I'll conclude with a note from Rituparna Ghosh, where he wrote, পুরুষ এবং নারী এই দুই বিপরীত শব্দের মাঝখানে এক অসীম প্রান্তর, যেখানে বসবাস করেন অর্ধনারীশ্বরতার নানা প্রতিভূ. So gender is a continuous thing, neither male nor female, nor masculine nor feminine. And finally, a quote from Goethe. I am what I am, so take me as I am. Please accept them as they are. They are our friend. They are part of this society. So we need awareness to increase acquaintance, and with increased awareness in more and more acquaintance with the TG people, we must accept them in the mainstream of the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. I'm very sorry to interrupt you.
No. I'm actually sorry. I have taken almost 1 hour and 5 minutes. Sorry.
You have aptly touched upon the basic issue that there is a difference between the sex identity and gender identity, and really the other in our society, other in terms of gender, that other in our society is very much facing challenges from different quarters. It is no doubt, and we must be aware of this problem. It's true. So thank you, Natasha. There is a question in the chat box. Actually, there are some comments, and all participants who have written here have thanked you. There is one comment by Anjan Shah. Description of the USA as the most democratic country by the speaker is problematic.
I agree. But
where you can be elected to presidency with less number of popular
I agree with you. I completely agree with you. But they pretend to be the most democratic country. That
But
was the
even
thing I wanted to say.
he has also congratulated you for your thoughtful presentation. Really, the issue
Thank you.
is very interesting and very important also. We must adopt a very inclusive attitude towards these groups of men and women.
If you have any question, you can email me.
Any question from,
Yeah.
is there any question?
Actually, I know the lunch time is
Yes, it is the lunch time.
right in the lunch time. So, sorry, but if you have any question,
Parama Mukherjee and Suparna
Yeah.
Chatterjee,
Yeah.
Arita
yeah, but get the slide.
Yes, there is a question by Arita Vishwas.
Get the slide as well as get my papers. Please give your mail me in my mail ID is ndglbc. Actually, I was in LBC. ndglbc@gmail.com. If you can send me a mail, I'll send you the whole paper, the report. And any more?
Is there any question?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. This is my mail ID, ndglbc@gmail.com. So I must conclude. Thank you all for your patient hearing, and
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you very much for your excellent presentation.
Get the slide. You can. Please email me, send me mail in ndglbc. I'll give you the slides. And just today, it is always. It's actually I can't get out the sweet memories of the Brabourne. It is I worked here for 21 years, and it is always. It's a pleasure to me. It's a cheer to me to come back to be present in Brabourne, either physically or virtually, to meet the friends of Brabourne and Didi and our senior colleagues. Thank you all. Thank you the others for your patience hearing. So I'm leaving. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Natasha, again.